Christian nationalism, for instance. I'm a Christian, okay? And this is the reason I talk so much about it, because it has destroyed and perverted the faith that I believe in. And I think that's not a failure of Fox News per se, it's a failure from the pulpit of the church. When you have clergy that will stand up and say that Donald Trump is the equivalent of Jesus, right? Or that we're gonna sit here in this church and pledge allegiance to the flag and talk about America stuff all the time and not about what our religion actually believes. That is a failure from that institution, and there's ownership that has to come from the institution to teach your flock the right way. I don't want to say the right way to think, but the right way to think in that context. You know, I saw my colleagues, on the one hand, you know, a guy from Arizona, the first to tell you everything about how abortion's bad and all this kind of stuff, ask one of his staffers to be a surrogate for him the old-fashioned way, right? Like, you see this kind of stuff, and it's like, the people that are the loudest are the ones that are actually should not be the loudest, I mean, quite honestly. And I came to realize through that, I've always been a moderate on immigration reform, for instance. And I'd come to realize on stuff like, what I thought initially was a compassionate viewpoint, which is, for me, like, what's going on the border is human trafficking. It's actually pretty tragic if you hear these stories. But I would see my colleagues talk about it from a perspective of, we don't want those people here. And I think that was a lot that kind of opened my eyes to maybe most of these people aren't genuine in what they say and what they believe. The other thing, look, as I've grown in my faith, I've come to realize Jesus said, render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, and unto God which is God's. He didn't come to start a revolution, he came to change hearts, and that's all everybody's own personal decision on where you go with that. It wasn't to overthrow a government. And in fact, those are the ones he attacked predominantly. And that's exactly what you're seeing in a lot of evangelical churches today, is exactly what was attacked.